In order for Israel to succeed the United States as a ruling state in the world, not only must the US economy collapse and the US dollar collapse, and when the US dollar collapses, it brings down the whole world of paper money with it. And if you don't believe me, just wait. Just wait. Not only must the United States collapse its economy and its money, but in addition, Israel has to wage a big war, which even non-Muslim political analysts are now anticipating. A big war. Even Jews now within Israel, I'm getting emails, even Jews within Israel, Jewish academics who are up in opposition to the Sharon government, they are now understanding that there's something big about to happen. And they're warning the world about it. Of course, it's too late now. Israel has to wage this big war, which is already planned long ago. And the territory of the state of Israel will dramatically expand. And the Palestinian problem will be solved because they'll be exported out. That is the massive human rights crime that the Israeli academics are now anticipating and warning the world about. But in addition, in order for Israel to become the ruling state in the world, not only must she take control of all of this territory, she must also control the oil of the Middle East. Saudi oil, Iraqi oil, Kuwaiti oil, Gulf oil. But I don't see Israel taking Iranian oil. No. And you'd want to ask me why. Yes, you'd want to ask me why. In the question and answer session, not now. I don't see Israel touching the Iranian oil. Now that's going to be a very, very important event in world affairs. If Israel takes control of this oil, Israel will have her hands on the throat of the world. Not so much Britain and the United States, because Britain has North Sea oil. The United States has a lot of oil, sufficient to meet its domestic consumption. And so who is going to have Israel at their throats? The answer, Europe, Japan, and the rest of the world dependent upon Middle East oil, but particularly Europe and Japan. Which is why at this moment you will notice a lot of strange noises coming out of Europe in hostility to the United States. Because the Europeans are beginning to open their eyes and now beginning to slowly understand what we knew all along. Yes. But Israel has a PhD in deception. Because it's Dajjal at the back of this, the mastermind. And Israel would not want to wage a big war and appear to the world naked, clearly, as an aggressor. No, that's not deception. Israel has to wage her big war and make it appear as though she was only defending herself. The only Muslim I know of who has had the capacity to be able to penetrate the deception that has been going on all these years, the only one I know of, was a man who never went to Al-Azhar University. No, he wasn't a sheikh. His name was Malcolm X. He's the only man I know of who had that eyes wish to see and could clearly recognize the strategy and the deception. Read Malcolm X. How is Israel going to launch this big war and yet get away from being perceived by the whole of humanity as the aggressor, blatant aggression. You have to come with a good strategy. The strategy is this. Ariel Sharon goes into Masjid al-Aqsa with 1,000 Israeli military with him, with their shoes on, with the full knowledge that this calculated act of extreme provocation must have a response, a fiery response. And as the flames of the new intifada emerge, you must keep it burning by committing upon the Palestinian people more and more atrocities that drive them into a greater and greater rage. This is planning. This is strategy. This is not happening by accident. As Israel unleashes this barbaric oppression upon the Palestinian people, you must have a television station which you plant amongst them, which will cover this, that your Egyptian television would not cover, and your Jordanian government would not allow on Jordanian television, so you create something called Al Jazeera. And the Arab masses believe Al Jazeera is their station. This is the only place in the world we can get authentic information, Al Jazeera. So Al Jazeera is now used to portray all the atrocities. And so around the Arab world, the masses only have to tune into Al Jazeera and they know what's happening. And so the Arab masses become more and more angry, more and more enraged. And guess who begins to tremble now? The governments which are pro-American. The governments which have entered into peace treaties with Israel. These are the ones who are now trembling because their people are becoming more and more enraged. Israel has to judge the temperature on the ground in the Arab world. And because Israel has a strategic military alliance with the United States of America, it is when Israel judges the temperature to be hot enough, only then will Israel give the go-ahead to the United States to attack Iraq. Only then. And you have to inform the whole world in advance that you're going to attack Iraq. So the masses must be expecting it. Why? So that when the United States attacks Iraq, you would have the kind of spontaneous outburst from the Arab masses that you want. That they will take to the streets in massive demonstrations. The kind which brought down Zulfikar Ali Bhutto in Pakistan. They tested this formula. They tested this formula because they were actively involved in all that drama in Iran. Oh yes. Without in any way being uncharitable or lessening in any way my appreciation and my respect and the honor which I have for those who led the Iranian Revolution. I have to admit that in addition to their sincere efforts and their struggle against the oppression of the Shah, that there were also others that worked to help them without their even knowing it. So they have finessed this methodology of how to bring the masses out onto the streets. And this is what is about to occur. As the masses go out onto the street,